So today we're going to be reverse engineering this knockoff Guitar Hero controller. So external features on the top left here, we've got the 5 fret buttons. In the middle here, we've got the strum bar and the whammy bar, start and select buttons, and we flip it over. On the back, we've got the power switch and the wireless connect button. Okay, so now I've taken all the screws out, and so we can open up the casing. So it just separates cleanly into nice halves here. So now we're going to take a look at each subsystem inside the shell. So the first subsystem we're going to look at is the fret buttons. So you can see that underneath those buttons there's a long circuit board connected by a flex cable back to the main circuit board. Now if we flip this up, we can see that the fret buttons are actually loose in the case. They just kind of pop out like that. And they're only held in by the circuit board, which is held in by screws that I took out. And on the circuit board, these rubber buttons are underneath the fret buttons, and so when you press the fret, it pushes the rubber down, which actually contacts the electronics and sends a signal back to the main board. So this is the whammy bar assembly. So when you push the bar, it spins this mechanism here, and the tension is provided by this spring on the right side, and it just spins this half cylinder piece, and you can't take the top off because it doesn't work without the tension from the top. And when it spins this rotor here, which is actually what detects the signal and sends it back along the wire to the main board. The start and select buttons on the front have a very similar assembly to the fret buttons at the top. There's just a circuit board, and when you flip it up, there's rubber contacts under the buttons that when you push them, press down into the circuit board and conduct a signal through the flex cable to the main board. Here's the main circuit board, and underneath is the assembly for the strum bar. So if we take off this plastic covering here, we can see that this is the inside of the strum bar, and it just kind of swings back and forth like this. But when it does that, it contacts these switches on the underside of the main circuit board. And so when you strum, the switches just click, and that indicates the direction of the strum. So here's the power switch assembly, and we can see that the switch itself is just a plate that slides underneath and contacts this projection from the controller board, and that the wireless button is actually just a rubber projection that comes up and touches the board just like the other buttons. So to wrap the video up, we're going to reassemble the guitar. So first we do the power switch assembly, then the fret buttons, then the start and select buttons at the bottom, then the whammy bar, and lastly, we reassemble the circuit board and strum bar, and then we click the two halves of the guitar back together. Thanks for watching.